What it is, man. Detroit versus everybody, man. Detroit, we rep the hardest, man. We gain the hardest. You know what it is, man. Detroit, CJ, holla at your boy when we get home.
Don't forget to check out our sponsor, The Health Blaze, at thehealthblaze.com. 100% all natural products from lotions, soaps, foot soaks, bath bombs, and much, much more. Use the promo code Goodfella1Boxing. Tell them your boy CJ Goodfella sent you. Get 18% off. We out. All right, Dana White is speaking on what's going on or what's going wrong in boxing. Let's talk about it. Check out the Boxing News playlist. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, bell icon button, share the video. And he is succeeding in UFC when boxing is falling. So, but he don't really have no real opposition. It's really a dictatorship. It's his way or the highway. One of the reasons they can come up with UFC video games, because he has all the rights to the fighter. So it's up to him. Like, he controls everything about the UFC. And at one point he owned it and he sold it, but he still runs and operates it. So, he sold it, cashed out, and still cashing in because he's the only one that knows how to run it and how to promote it. And Dana White is the only person that knows how to promote combat sports in the 21st century. But let's talk about what he said. Hit that subscribe button, bell icon button. Share the video. It's the best way to donate to the channel. If you want to make a donation, Cash App is CJ Good 313. PayPal link in the description. Best way to donate. Please just share the video. But it says that Dana White discusses what's wrong with boxing. He said, I can give 1,000 reasons why boxing is in trouble. I've been saying for 20 years, and now we're getting to the point where it's really bad. It's in big trouble, said UFC President Dana White. The number one reason I think he meant to say, the number one reason is that these promoters that have been doing this for 30 or 40 years never invested money back into it. Every boxing match that goes on is a going out of business sale. Let's get as much money as we can from these people and get the F out of town. That's a boxing match. And that's not how you run a business. It's not how you build a sport. That's how you create longevity in the sport, White said. He also goes on to say, hold on. He says Dana White invests in his company. If you look at the things from the headquarters, from the PI to the Apex, and what we are doing in China and all these other places around the world, those are all investments in the sport, White says. So we invest in the sport. The Contender Series is an investment in the athletes. The Ultimate Fighter, the Contender, the kids come off this show. I was in the war room today. Yusuf's first fight, Yusuf, when he fought in the Contender Series, is up to 6.6 million viewers. 6.6 million people saw his first fight in the Contender Series. O'Malley is at 5-point-something million. The list goes on and on. The lowest number for the first season of the Contender Series is like 797,000 viewers. These are these kids' first fight before they're ever in the UFC. I say their first fight before the UFC, but with that many people watching your first fight before you're even in the UFC is big for these kids, said White. So basically he's saying that how he's investing in his own in UFC and why boxing don't. And he got a great point. Boxing don't invest in boxing. It's just really a robbery. Let's get in and get out, get as much money as we can. They don't market. They don't do a 24/7 series no more, all access series. Val Heyman, Bob Arum don't invest into a contender like Sirius or none of that situation. That's a separate entity that does the contender. They don't really go global. They don't put boxing clinics on. They don't take 3 or 4 of their stars and go over to China and put on a boxing clinic. That's what the NBA do. That's how I went global. When Michael Jordan going over to France and Michael Jordan in the Team USA, dream team, and going around and balling and really making people fans of the sports. Boxing don't do that. They don't Top Rank don't say, let's take two or three of our stars and put on a clinic, for some kids in Idaho, or put on a clinic for some kids in California. They're very, very scarce and very, very frugal, on what they want to do and how they want to promote their fights. They don't put any money into the marketing. Look at the Charlo card. They did a documentary on Showtime that not too many people know about on the YouTube channel. They put it on the channel on the cable box. I mean, Gervonta and Leo, you ain't heard no build up to the fight. Boxing does not want to put money into a promotional. They put money into Mikey and Earl, and that, they did 350,000 pay-per-views. So they didn't do much promotion for Fury and Wilder, and they just thought the first fight was gonna sell itself. It ain't like the first fight was on CBS or it was on Fox. The first fight was on pay-per-view. It limited itself to a select few audience. And really, Deontay Wilder was the difference in it selling 325,000 the first time. With to this day, in Radio Raheem, he should have got some royalties off of that one. But boxing don't want to invest into boxing. Neither Bob Arum don't, nothing. They don't want to run promos. They don't want to pay for TV slots. They don't want to do an all access. They don't want to do nothing. They don't try to get these kids no marketing deals or no brand deals with Under Armour or Gatorade or none of that nature. It's really like you sit back and you fight and that's it. And a lot of people that built their brand on Showtime, they built it on a limited platform. You know what I'm saying? So he right. Dana White is taking this money and investing it into his sport. Whatever the PI and the Apex is, or them going over in China, them with the Ultimate Fighter and the Contender Series. At the end of the day, they building a farm system. At the same time, they investing into the sport. At the same time, they lock down the video game. They locking down the TV market. Like, boxing has no idea how to market in the 21st century, and Dana White does. Dana White knows how to promote. Dana White knows how to engage with the fans. Dana White has the fan base that boxing can't reach, and that was the great white American fan. Boxing only reaches out to the Mexican fans. It disrespects the white fans. It disrespects the black fans. And black people are the number one consumers in the United States, with over $1 trillion spent into the economy. And then again, you cater to the Mexicans because that's who you think is your targeted demographic. Look at Dana White. His target demographic is white people. White people spend money no matter what. That's why he's able to do 1.3 million pay-per-views and 1 million pay-per-views back to back. This is why his brand is the highest brand. He puts together a great card. He knows how to market. He knows how to manipulate his audience. And boxing don't respect their audience. Dana White respects the customer. He never disrespects the customer. And if he does disrespect the customer, he makes it up to him. You know what I'm saying? He puts on great cards. He markets. And at the end of the day, it was an upgrade going from Fox to ESPN. And he showed why. He kicking Bob Arum's ass on ESPN up and down the street. People say, well, boxing will never die, or, boxer makes more money. Who cares about who a fan cares about how much boxers make and how much UFC fighters make? Only thing we care about is paying for it. But he right. Boxing don't make investments into its sports. It don't make investments into its fighters. And it's as simple as, how about reaching out, getting him a deal with Gatorade? How about reaching out, getting him a interview with GQ, or reaching out and setting up a deal with Nike or whatever. And Al Heyman is guilty of it. Al Heyman don't really market his fighters. He don't promote their fighters. He don't think about putting on the Ultimate Fighter like Sirius or none of that nature. Everything like Dana White said is to get out of town. Let's fuck the fans, rape the fans, get as much money as we can and get out. It is an out of business thing. You know what I'm saying? And then you got situations where they building fights up that don't need to be built. Like Eddie Hearn said, well, Billy Joe and Colin Smith would take intern fights before fighting each other at a later date. Who gives a fuck? Who cares? Why are you building up a fight that nobody cares? People in the UK don't care if that fight built up or not. You could build up a Wilder Fury. You could build up an AJ Fury. Nobody cares if you build up a Billy Joe Saunders in a Callum Smith fight. They building bum bashes. They building pedestrian fights. They building average fights. You know what I'm saying? That makes no sense at all. You know what I'm saying? And Dana White is 100% right. These dudes are basically raping boxing. They're getting as much money as they can, putting the middle finger up to the fans. And in a minute, they're going to continue to lose loyal fans. In a minute, their core fans are going to die off. You're going to lose some of them. Some of them going to be like, fuck it, I'm done with it. Some of them going to pass away. Because boxing, the majority of boxing fans are probably baby boomers. You know what I'm saying? They older guys, older people. So, they have no clue. And the reason you got no clue is because you got a whole bunch of old motherfuckers. Eddie Hearn is the most creative promoter out right now in boxing. Bar none. He's the most creative. He always trying new things. He's the one that started the Instagram interviews on during the quarantine with his fighters. And then PBC tried to jump on there and do it with theirs. At the end of the day, Eddie Hearn is the most innovative, creative promoter out there because he's younger. He has more of a touch into what the young people are doing. Al Heyman don't know how to promote a market in boxing, and Bob Arum don't know how to promote a market in boxing. Samson Tulowitzki, or Ring Star Promotion, Richard Schaefer, None of these dudes, none of these dudes know how to promote their fighters. Oscar don't know how to promote his fighters no more. If they don't got a fight coming up, you don't hear nothing from them. You don't see them in commercials no more. You don't see them doing, nothing no more. You don't see them doing boxing clinics, opening new gyms. When a fighter is not fighting, they out of sight, out of mind. And now they fight once or twice a year. Now Floyd didn't change that. So now they fight once or twice a year. You can't build a fan base with not having a presence between your two fights or your one fight a year. And that's the issue. So let me know what you guys think. I definitely agree with Dana White. Don't forget we on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can reach out if you got business, question, inquiry, sponsorship, video requests. Keep sharing the videos. Want to make a donation? Cash App for CJ Good 313. $CJ Good 313. PayPal link in the description. Best way to donate personally. You should share the video. Don't forget, check out the channel out, Motor City Sports Talk right here on YouTube. One time for the one time. We gone.